original file.
That's fine. Okay, today we are going to learn about arithmetic sequences. This is something you've learned before, but now it actually has a name to it, and it is tied to algebra. All right, we're going to add some text in here. A blank is an ordered list of numbers. A sequence. Each number in a sequence is called a term. Okay, so we have sequence, and then each number is called a term. So let's see. Here's a sequence. I don't know what you're asking. What? I don't know. So we have 3, 5, 7, 9. That is a sequence. So the first term is 3, second term is 5, third term is 7, fourth term is 9. The dots mean it goes on and on forever. It's infinite. Term, element, member all mean the same thing. In an arithmetic sequence, each term is found by adding or subtracting the same number to the previous term. Okay, so we have 2, 4, 6, and 8. So we have 2 to 4 is plus 2. 4 to 6 is plus 2. 6 to 8 is plus 2. And then to find the next terms, you would continue to add 2 until you get to as many terms as you want. So if we take the last term that we have and add 2, then we get 10. Then add 2, we get 12. Add 2, we get 14. Add 2, we get 16. That 2 is called your common difference. Or, yeah, I think that's what it's called. So let's write that here. Is called the common difference. So if it was a minus, it'd be a subtract 2. So we could write a recursive formula. The recursive formula is the formula that uses the previous term. So new term equals previous plus 2. That would be the recursive formula. And we'll talk about that more tomorrow, but I just want you to see that the recursive always uses the common difference. You're going to add or subtract for arithmetic. Okay, this is called the explicit formula. And that's what we're going to focus on today with our arithmetic sequence. And we're going to identify what each one of these things mean. All right, I'm going to draw a little text box right here to identify A-N. That is A sub N. The N means the term number that it is. So this is the nth term. Whatever you want that to be. Let's say the 10th term, the 5th term. It's the nth term. And then A1, what do you think that means? If N is 1, what term is that? It's our first term. N is the term that we are finding, minus 1. And then D is that common difference that we can find whenever we figure out what the pattern is. Okay, so this is just identifying some vocab and the formulas. So once you actually see it in action, it might make a little bit more sense, hopefully. You ready for the next slide? Okay. Arithmetic sequence. Find the missing terms in the sequence and then determine if the sequence are arithmetic. 5, 15, 25, 35. So what is that? That should be like an arrow. That looks funny. Let's see. Curved connector, maybe? Can I do that? No. I just need to do like this. That looks funny. It's not going to work. All right. So what is the pattern? Plus 10? What about 15 to 25? 25 to 35? So what's the next term? 45? All right. What's the next term? 55, 65, and then 75? So the pattern is, or the common difference is plus 5. No, plus 10. Okay, let's go to the next one. 6, 3, 0, -3, -6. What is the pattern? -3. So we're going to write common difference is -3. So the next term, -3, -6. What's the next one? -9. And then what's the next one? -12. Okay, let's look at the next pattern. 3, 8, 15, 24, and so on. How do you get from 3 to 8? Plus 5. What about 8 to 15? Do they have a common difference? No, so this is not arithmetic. But we still need to find out the other terms in the sequence. So then the next one would be plus 9. Yeah, so you're adding 2 every time to the previous common difference. So that'd be plus 11. Or then, what would this one be? It'd be 35. And then to get from 35 to 48, be plus 13. Okay, and then 48 to 63. Plus, is it 15? Okay, and then I need to add 17 to that one. So 63, and then plus 17 would be 70. 80. Okay, thanks. And then the next one would be plus 19, and so on. So it's adding back your odd terms. Okay, are the sequence arithmetic for the first one? Is that arithmetic? Yes. What about the second one? Yes. What about the third one? No. Okay, so let's go to slide 38. Find a formula for each arithmetic sequence. So our steps are find the common difference, look at the first number in the sequence, and plug it in for A1. Distribute, and then combine like terms. Finally, you should have your equation. So let's write down the things that we need. So we need the common difference. What is our common difference? Which we're going to write as D equals 3. So plus 3, right? What is our A1? That is our first term. What's our first term? 3. Okay. So now we're using that formula. I'm going to make this bigger. Let's see. It's supposed to be A subscript N, but we can't do subscript here. So I'm going to do A N equals. Just know that N is your subscript. That means it's below the A. Equals. The formula says A1 plus N minus 1 times your D. Would y'all rather write this out and then just type it in? Okay. Sometimes it's a little bit of a struggle to type it in. So open up your journal to the next page. And we're going to write. Okay, so let's write the sequence. And so we see that it's a plus 3. I think so. Yes. So then our common difference is 3. Our a base 1 or subscript 1 is 3 because that's your first term. And the formula, this is your explicit formula. Is written as a base n equals a subscript 1 plus n minus 1 times d. So we'll plug it in here. So it'd be a subscript n equals 3 plus n minus 1, and then d would be times 3. So we need to distribute the 3. So a base n, or subscript n, 3 plus 3n minus 3. Then we're combining like terms. So we get a subscript n equals just 3n. Where n is your n term. So we can use this formula to find the terms. So let's say I want my first term. First term is a sub 1. So we just plug in 1 there. So 3 times 1, which equals 3. I'm going to check it with my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th term. A5 would be 3 times 5, which is 15. What if I want my 22nd term? What would I do? The same pattern, but I can just use my formula. Instead of continue to do plus 3, plus 3, plus 3, plus 3, and so on, I can just plug it in my formula. So A22 equals 3 times 22, which equals 66. So once you find this rule, your explicit formula, you can find any term in the sequence without knowing the previous one, without actually listing them all out and everything. Okay, let's look. What is the next one? It is 22, 15, 8, 1. Comma, dot, dot, dot. I forgot that one on the last one. So it should have comma, dot, dot, dot. So we need to find our common difference. 22 to 15. What's the pattern? Minus 7. Okay, what about 15 to 8? 8 to 1. All right. So our common difference D is negative 7. And our A1 first term is 22. So I want you to try to find your explicit formula by plugging it in, just like we did that previous problem. I'm going to give you a minute. Okay, so there's some confusion, so we're going to go ahead and go over it. So I want us to look at the previous one. So remember we had the sequence, we found our common difference, we did A1. This is the formula that we're plugging in to. So A1 is your first term. First term. N is our variable. That's whatever our term that we're looking for. And D is your common difference. So on this one, your A1 and your D were 3. That's probably what caused confusion.
I don't know how you got from here to here. That's what I was confused with.
Okay, how I got from here to here?
Yes, ma'am.
I combine like terms. See, we have a 3 and a minus 3?
Yes,
0. So it's actually 3n plus 0, which gives us 3n. So on this one, remember our explicit formula. I'm going to rewrite the explicit formula. And then I'm going to plug in. AN is going to stay AN. A1 is 22 plus N minus 1. And then our D is a negative 7. So times a negative 7. Or you could put it in parentheses like that. Questions so far? You see where I got everything? Then we need to distribute the negative 7 inside the parentheses. Carry down the 22. So AN equals 22 plus negative 7 times N. Negative 7N. Negative 7 times a negative 1 plus 7. And then combine your like terms. So we get AN equals, we can combine the 22 and the 7. 22 plus 7? 29 minus 7N.
And I learned that's just your answer.
That is your formula for the sequence, yeah. And then the reason we did this over here was to check it and then to find the 22nd term. So let's check it for our first term. It'd be A1. So I'm plugging in a 1 for N. Instead of saying AN equals, I'm saying A1 equals, and I'm plugging it in. 29 minus 7 times 1. Because I'm plugging in a 1 for the N. Which would just be 29 minus 7, 22. We don't have a fifth term here, so let's do our fourth term. So A4 equals 29 minus 7 times 4. So that'd be 29 minus 7 times 4, 28, which equals And then now what we got? What's in our sequence? Okay. So let's find our 22nd term. I don't know why I'm doing 22nd. It's just for fun. So we do A22 equals 29 minus 7 times 22. So it'd be 29 minus 154, negative 125. Okay, so your assignment, we didn't get to finish all of the slides I wanted to, but that's okay. This is your assignment. I'm going to pass it out for those in class. Looks really fuzzy, but it's not. And you're just going to do 1 through 10 right now, and we'll finish the rest of them tomorrow.